If you're a longtime viewer of TopherDrives, you know that I love a big, luxurious VIP sedan. And if you are that longtime viewer, you should also recognize this 1986 Mercedes-Benz 420 SEL, the first ever sort of content car that I purchased for TopherDrives back in October of 2021. It's mind-boggling to think that I have owned this W126 for almost 5 years. In fact, I kind of credit this car to TopherDrives being sort of reborn. Some of you may not know the TopherDrives channel was a different channel called Driven by Dreams for the first few years of its existence, where I made little reviews here and there while I was in college. But when I became sort of intertwined with the Topher and Winding Road magazine, I wanted to restart the channel, and I wanted a content car to focus on, mostly because I didn't yet have access to press cars. And well, this is what I landed on, a 1986 Mercedes 420 SEL that I bought from Copart that was involved in a bit of a drive-by situation. You guys can go back and watch my first and second videos ever on the channel as TopherDrives. They're both on this car. And well, I've kind of held on to it for sentimental reasons, but I think now that I'm getting married this year, I'm trying to thin the herd a little bit. I think this 86 420 SEL is on the chopping block. And you, as viewers of TopherDrives viewing this video, have the first shot to get your hands on my famed W126. So famed that I haven't made a video on it in years, apart from it being featured in the car collection video. But I thought it would be cool to see this little piece of TopherDrives history go to one of you guys. So today we're gonna walk around it and we're kind of gonna drive it. I had this big grand plan to do like a living with the dirt cheap W126 video, but then I got it out today, and I think the crappy eBay fuel pump I put on this thing a couple of years ago is starting to go out, because it's had a couple of moments where it's shut off while driving, and I don't really want to do the full highway and Whole Foods situation with a car that I don't know is going to continue to run. So we're going to drive it around sort of locally around this area, around the warehouse, and we'll show you what that's like, because hey, we've actually never really reviewed a W126 on the channel, and later on we'll probably review a nicer one that can actually do stuff. But man, I gotta showcase this car one more time before I let it go. So I bought this car from Copart from insurance auction. Ended up putting 4 new doors on it because the older ones were a bit like Swiss cheese from the situation that this car was in. We also put a windshield on it. We replaced some interior parts, some suspension components. We've done a couple mechanical things to this car as well, but for the most part, it's pretty much in the same condition as it was when I bought it, which kind of breaks my heart because I really wanted to do more with this car, but things kind of ramped up. I got into the press cars and this thing kind of just got forgotten. It got set on the back burner. It sat outside at the shop for years. And well, I blew all the dust off it today, and it actually does clean up decently well if you ignore the doors not matching the rest of the car perfectly, because 3 of them are from one car and 1 of them is from another, none of which are from this car. So it's a little bit weird to look at, especially in this beautiful golden hour lighting. But man, I like to picture this car in its heyday. The W126, bear with me while I give you some lore. You can skip this part if you want. But the W126 was a pretty big deal for Mercedes. In fact, it was the highest volume selling S-Class ever. They sold over 900,000 of these cars, which is just insane, and also explains why you still kind of see them. Every baddie in every 80s movie drove one of these, and they're just such an iconic car. Bruno Sacco design. I think it's one of the most beautiful cars that Mercedes ever made. Even this one that is clearly very tired, it's still a beautiful spec. It's finished in pearl black with a medium red interior, which was really what drove me to this car in the beginning. I loved the red interior in this thing. I think it just looks the business, properly villainous, and matched what probably was in this car after its drive-by. But I think the spec overall on this is super nice. And man, I would hate to see this get parted out. I would understand if somebody did it, but I just think it would be really cool to see this go to one of you guys, and maybe it can gain some new life in the hands of an enthusiast that wants to restore it. But let's start poking around this thing. I want to talk mechanics. So this is the 420 SEL. This was actually the first model year of the facelifted W126. So we got different headlights. We got these Gully Decal wheels. The first time these showed up on this car. And under the hood, the M116, the 4.2 liter naturally aspirated V8, which at the time Made 201 horsepower and 229 pound-feet of torque. Attached to this, the 4G 4-speed automatic transmission, 4G Tronic, I think they call it. And this is rear-wheel drive, and I think it has a limited slip differential. This car also pioneered some things for Mercedes-Benz. It was the first MB to have airbags and the first one to have traction control. In fact, I think 86 was the first model year for that. So this has the anti-slip regulation or whatever they called it back then. I don't know that it works still. Probably not, considering the condition that the rest of the car is in. But hey, where it really counts, you know, this car never really lets you down. It's started every single time that I've gone to start it in my 5 years of ownership. And, you know, sometimes it stalls out, but it always starts back up. And, well, there's that big, glorious V8. There was a bigger one. You could also get the 560 SEL. That was the biggest engine option back in this day. There was no V12 yet. But, man, I love this grille. I love this badge. And I just love the W126. It's such a cool thing. I really want to like review one of these one day and like seriously live with it, but this car just really never got to that level. Huge trunk for all of your mafia related business transactions. You could fit a lot of stuff in here. Lots of golf bags, we'll say. I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 of them. And this car does actually still have its original spare on its original Continental tire. This is really cool actually to see this really old Conti that who knows if that's ever even been out of the trunk. Love this medium red or burgundy, whatever you want to call it, interior. It's just beautiful and kind of hard to find on these. You don't really see it all that often. And this is the SEL, so it's the long wheelbase version, so you've got a little bit more room in the back, but it's always so funny sitting in one of these cars and just kind of relating it to like a modern day S-Class. You've got so much more room in a modern day car. There's literally a cobweb right here, this poor car. But back seat, it's very sort of squishy and doesn't have much material left in it because Mercedes was stuffing seats with horsehair back in the 1970s and 1980s. So the seats are pretty deteriorated, though the material has actually seemed to have held up decently well. I think this is actually real leather too. I don't think this is MB Tex. Maybe it is. This looks very MB Texy. But I decoded the VIN earlier and it told me that this was medium red leather. So I don't know. Some Mercedes expert in the comments can tell me. Still has the first aid kit back here. And then you've got another little cubby on that side. I've got my vintage Mercedes-Benz hat in the back window. All the proper stuff. This was, of course, still an S-Class, so we had luxury things like ashtrays in the doors. These seat back pockets are so blown out. You've got your own climate vents back here, and just plenty of room for an 80s business executive that would have been riding around in the back of their W126. You had these little reading lights, which probably only work if the ignition is on. And then, of course, up front, same sort of deal. This, you know, I love a car that has its own bit of lore. So I left one of the entry points on the car. You can see that there. I think that's the only one, that's the only bit of evidence that this car has that it was in a drive-by shooting. Anyway, okay, let's jump in this. Let's take it around the block real quick, and you guys can let me know what you think. I'm not going to say price in the video because the last time I talked about price, the comment section was a dumpster fire. So if you are interested in this car, you can DM me on Instagram. I'll put it up on the right-hand side of the screen so you guys can see that. Or you can email me if you don't have Instagram, TopherDrives@gmail.com. And I really don't want much for this car. I just want to see it go to a good home. So if you really want it and you have good plans with what you want to do with it, please do let me know ASAP. But it's ready to go. Clean title. I've got a key. Actually, I have 2 keys. I don't know what this one does, though. I think this is for the glove box, which I did have to replace because that was shattered from the incident that this car was in. Just, you know, they say bank vault doors. This is what they're talking about. New Mercedes, you can't do this. Like, are you serious? Listen to that. It's probably blowing out the mics. It's so loud. The word solid was invented for the doors on the W126. Key into the ignition, and actually before we start this up, I want to go over a couple of things if you are an interested buyer in this car. None of the windows go down for whatever reason. Actually, sorry. The windows go down, they just don't go back up, so I don't ever put them down. Driver's seat controls, Those are broken. The climate control does actually work, but all of the trim is very loose and needs to be resecured. Some of the interior panels are also loose and need to be resecured. Whoever had this before me, I think they had some sort of person working on this that didn't super know what they were doing. Headliner's in pretty good shape. So are the visors. That stuff all works. Rear view mirror. Dash is cracked a little bit, but hey, it's a 1986 Mercedes that has lived a very hard life. Odometer showing 186,764 miles, but that is also inoperative. So I don't know how many miles are on this car. If I had to guess, I would say probably over 200,000. I'll tell you what though, she fires up every time. This thing has literally never not started, except for the couple of times that it's been out of fuel because I thought the fuel gauge didn't work, but it does. Look at that, we've got just under half a tank. This car had heated seats at some point, and you can see that little bit here, which I've got off because it's very hot out right now, which is another reason I've waited till the sun has gone down to actually take this car out, because it does get very hot in this interior, though I do have the vent blowing and it does actually feel decently cool. If you open the door, you can hear that eBay fuel pump just doing its thing, but these older Mercedes cars, they kind of just have noisy fuel pumps in general. If you've ever stood behind one of these, you know what I'm talking about. Aftermarket Kenwood stereo, which is in standby mode. I don't know. I've gotten this to work before, but I think today it's telling me no. That's okay. We don't need it. Into reverse. The backup. No, I'm just kidding. There's no backup camera in this, but I guess you could install one if you wanted to sort of modernize this thing. Into drive, and off we go to take this on a bit of a leisure cruise around the neighborhood that is next to the shop. Sort of James May motoring in today's video is what we're going to be up to. A couple of warning lights, or sorry, I should say a few warning lights on the dash. The brake light is on because the car thinks that the parking brake is on when in fact it is not. You can see if I take my left foot and move the parking brake up, the brake light goes away. So if you could find a way to secure the parking brake from sagging, that light would go off. I've got a bulb warning because the driver's side taillight doesn't work. I've tried replacing it, didn't fix it, so it must have some sort of wiring issue that I'm not sure about. I'm gonna run it down this way, which is a little bit of like a empty road, just to make sure it actually wants to run right now. Turn the lights on as well. Oh yeah. Oh, nope. Okay, that. So this car has taught me some things as far as like owning a car that's old and sometimes shuts off. Always pop it into neutral. You never want to start it back when you're in drive, because that would be very bad. Back to life, then into drive. There it goes. And off we go. Okay. What was I saying? Oh, the bulb warning's gone away, probably because I haven't put my foot on the brake yet. There it goes. Okay, now the bulb warning's back. And then we have a warning for the windshield washer fluid. It's probably just low. I've never checked it because I haven't needed to use those. All right, let's get this thing turned around here. I think we're actually in the mood to be running right now, so I'll take this thing down the street. 4-speed automatic gearbox. It leaks a bit of transmission fluid, so that's something to keep in mind, but it does shift very well, actually. Pretty smooth gear changes here from this, and I imagine one of these in working order is just a treat. You know, these older Mercedes, they're very much geared for, oh, the car's shut off. They're very much geared for comfort. You know, these aren't sports cars by any means. And even the SLs of this era, they do just drive in a very relaxed sort of manner. Low revs, using the torque. Of course, this has 28 more pound-feet of torque than it does horsepower. Man, we're just really not in the mood to be running today. Come on, I need you for the video. Maybe we just want to sit at 1500 RPM. That's okay as well. Everything in the interior creaks and sort of just makes leather slapping sounds. Not really unique to this car, you know. These older Mercedes, they're kind of just the interiors just degrade, especially when they have 200. Bird! I'm not immune to birds, no matter what sort of car I'm driving. Anyway, give you guys a second to sort of hear the engine in this and just take in the driving experience of this beautiful motor. Yes, machine! Shall we take a bit of a spicy corner? There it is. Right, well, you guys have seen what this car can do at its current moment, and it's actually really disappointing because when I drove this in my last collection video, I wonder if this like fuel gauge thing is like throwing the car off as well. Don't know. Anyway, you guys saw the way that this drove in my collection video that I filmed last year in May of 2025, and it actually went out on the road, it went around the block, and it was like completely fine. So I'm actually really sad that it's shut off this many times while driving, but whatever. Take it around the block, it's temperamental. If you want to come buy this thing, you're probably going to want to bring a trailer, unless you're very brave and you live very close by and you think you can limp it home. But all right, let's get this thing pulled in here, and we'll shut it off this time. Or actually, I probably should let you guys listen to it run. We might as well, right? Noisy fuel pump. But the actual engine itself, I mean, it runs pretty well. Yeah. Anyway, there's the lights on. Noisy fuel pump, round back. Oh, that taillight's working. Check it out. All right, let's shut this off and we'll wrap this one up. I know this is a very sort of untraditional TopherDrives video, but those of you that like little updates on my personal fleet, well, here you go. A car that has been away from the screen for quite a while now. I realize I left the lights on. Let's turn those off. We need this battery very much. But I think this is kind of where this car's story ends with me, and would love to see this go to somebody that has the desire to fix it up. I mean, there's just so many cool things you could do with this. My initial plan was to like source an old AMG body kit and lower it, put it on Penta wheels, all that stuff. But this car just ended up needing a little bit more work than I was willing to do. And so, like you guys saw, it just got parked. And unfortunately these days, I really just don't have time to mess with something like this. As sad as it is, it's the truth. Like I told you guys, I'm getting married this year. We've got some other stuff going on. I've got a ton of other personal cars. I've got 2 different press cars every week to film for TopherDrives and Winding Road Magazine. So there's just a lot, and unfortunately, this car is not going to get the love it deserves with these hands. So for the 50th time in this video today, if you guys are interested, please hit me up, DM me on Instagram, send me an email, whatever. I told you I don't want much for this. I just really want to see it go to someone that's going to love it. So I guess that's going to wrap it up for this short little video that I'm filming the night before this is getting uploaded. So happy Wednesday, everyone, if you're watching this on the day it goes up. But I guess that's it. I'll be sad to see this car go just because of kind of what it means to me, but that's all right. It needs to move on to its next caretaker, and I hope that that's one of you. So thank you guys all so much for watching. If you have any questions, and actually if you want to see me review a properly running and driving W126, please do let me know. But that's going to be a wrap for this one today, and we will see you in the next one. Take care. And actually, if you've stuck around to the end of the video, please allow me to nerd out over one more piece of lore that I meant to talk about in the beginning, but forgot. So the W126, I mentioned that they sold 900,000 of these between 81 and 91, which were the model years for the US. And a third of those cars were brought in through something called the gray market. Now, if you're unfamiliar with what the gray market is or was, back in the 1980s, it wasn't illegal to import a car that was less than 25 years old like it is now. And if you were to import a car today, it would have to be a 2001 or older. But back in this time, in 1986, you could just go over to Germany, buy a Mercedes S-Class there, and then ship it back to the US. And this was a lot cheaper to do it that way, as opposed to walking into a Mercedes-Benz dealer in 1986 and buying one in the US. So a third of the W126s in America were brought in from Europe, and it was such a problem that Mercedes dealers sort of went to the government and they were like, hey, this is not cool. Like, we're missing out on a whole lot of sales here. And the W126 is pretty much single-handedly to blame for the 25-year rule coming into effect. This and then the R107, a lot of Mercedes cars during this era were being brought in from Europe. And they looked better also. They had the glass headlights, they had slimmer bumpers. But I just thought that was funny that this car kind of played a role in that as well. But okay, this is the actual end of the video, and this is not a gray market car. This is a US spec car through and through with the big diving board bumpers and the plastic headlights and stuff. But all right, that's it. Thank you guys again. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.